session on Girls Who Game. And it's a panel this evening with a number of educators from across the province. And the panel will be facilitated by Kat Pulkas, who is an Ontario educator herself, currently working for Dell as their Canadian Education Coordinator. And I'm sure she's going to tell you more about the program, as the participants will this evening as well. This is, as I said, part of the ECOO winter support session, their winter support series. There will be a spring series as well, if you haven't checked those out yet. And there is also the virtual ECOO camp coming up at the end of February that we're excited about. And I want to remind people that every time you attend a session, you get an additional ballot for door prizes. So I think that is a fabulous incentive to do more. I am going to start us off with the land acknowledgement to say that for me in Nogo-Jiwanong, or Peterborough, Ontario, I acknowledge that I live and work in Nogo-Jiwanong on the traditional territory of the Mississauga Anishinaabe, adjacent to the territory of the Haudenosaunee. And we are thankful for the opportunity to live, work, learn, and heal together here on this land, and by whose waters we are granted access by the Williams Treaty. And from there, I will hand it over to Kat.
Thank you so much, Lisa, and a great evening to everyone, and happy International Day of Women and Girls in Science. It's great to be with you here. Now, tonight we're going to be talking about Girls Who Game, and we have a fantastic panel of amazing educators from across the province who are going to be here to share their experiences and their insights. So with that, I'd like to start with some quick introductions, and we'll go over to Lambton Kent to start.
Hi, I'm Melissa Holmes. I teach with the Lambton Kent District School Board, and I teach at a fully virtual school. So we were virtual from day one of the school year, and I teach grade 8. Nice to be here.
And I'm Melissa Dent, which is, why we partnered, because obviously Melissa's work well together. I also work for Lambton Kent District School Board. I'm currently the grade 6-7 teacher at the Lambton Kent District Virtual School as well. So ditto.
Welcome to Lambton Kent Club. And next we have Waterloo Catholic.
I'm Sherry McDonald, and I am currently the vice principal at St. John's in Kitchener. Prior to this, I was a high school teacher, and I taught math, religion, and law. And I work with my partner, Roland Chodiak.
Yes, and my name is Roland Chodiak, and I teach grade 3 at St. John's Catholic Elementary School. And I'm really happy to say that I get to work with Sherry.
Very nice. Now we'll hand it over to TDSB, and we'll start off with Celia.
Hi everyone, I'm Zelia. I am an elementary teacher with the Toronto District School Board. I'm in a role this year known as the Hybrid Teacher Digital Lead Learner, which just means I get to work with amazing educators across our system. So it's quite the privilege and the honor to work with them and to be here with all of you. So thank you.
Amazing.
Hi, and I'm Kamala Rambaran. I work at McMurk Junior Public School. I teach grade 6. And I have the privilege of teaching with Zal when she's in our GWG club. Thank you.
All right, and over to Annie.
Hi everyone, my name is Annie, and I'm a principal for an elementary school in Toronto at Woburn Junior Public School, and very excited to be part of this group and to be here tonight.
Artemis.
Thanks. Hi everybody, I'm Artemis Manukas. I'm the principal at Yorkview Public School. It's a K-5 French immersion school. And this is our first year as a Girls Who Game Club, and we're super excited to be here.
Amazing. All right, so thank you. And I'm just going to head back to the PowerPoint. You can just give me a thumbs up when you see it okay.
And Kat, I'm very sorry, this is Mary. Can you please start your recording as well, please?
Oh, it started. We started.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. No worries. We got you. All right. So let's talk a little bit about, on this very special day of the International Day of Women and Girls in Science, why we need to be even thinking about a program called Girls Who Game. So here are some stats for you to basically take in, but I think we all know the story. Women make up 50% of the workforce, but there's only about 25 to 28% of us in a STEM role. And that number is actually declining since the early 2000s. And if we go even further, when we are thinking about women of color, only 11% of them hold a role in STEM. And when we talk to our girls in high school, less than 50% of them even know a woman in STEM as a role model. So with these types of stats, this is our why. This is exactly why we have to be doing these types of programs and making sure that our girls are aware of what STEM is, for them to be engaged by it and to stay in it. We need them in there. And it's not just about making things 50%, but it's making sure that all perspectives from all people are part of the decisions that are being made as we go forward as a country, as a continent, and just as a global society. So we have 3 pillars to our Girls Who Game program. The first one is the girl-centric ecosystem. And what this really means is girl power. It's where we really try to empower the girls to be confident, to build, to actually learn from each other. So the focus of the program is not about the teacher or the coach at the front of the room teaching them, but it's about being a facilitator, and the girls become the experts. And that's really what we want to see happen. And the teachers and the coaches become the co-facilitators of the program. And this way we build up the capacity of everybody. And then part 2 is authentic application. Everything is focused around things that are actually happening in their world. This is real world STEM and their global competencies. So they're really focused on building those communication, collaboration, critical thinking, and problem solving skills, all those great things. And the final one is mentorship, because if we really feel that if they see women in these types of roles who can mentor them, that will help the girls build their own self-efficacy and understand that they can do these things. So I'm just going to take you quickly through some of the pictures from our club so that you get an idea of what it's all about. We'll start with pillar number 1. And these are some of our girls just from this past fall cohort from October to January. This is starting out east. And you can see these girls, they're working hard and they're having a great time. They're showing some great attitude, and that's what we want. We want to have that attitude, that can-do type of, we can do anything attitude. And it doesn't matter if they were on site or fully online, they were all successful in what they did. And we had the girls talking to each other across North America. So we're using tools like Flipgrid so that they could actually, especially during this time of being really unsettled, that they could communicate with each other, build relationships, and get to know each other in a different way. The second pillar, that authentic application. So what did that look like? These are the competencies that I was mentioning earlier, and all of us across Canada are doing them. So we really want to make sure that we keep those at the forefront, because they're so important. These are the transferable skills that the girls will bring into future studies, as well as into their future careers and lives. And as part of this, level 1 clubs do a culminating activity linked to the UN Sustainable Development Goals. This year, we had a scenario where they were designing an eatery of the future. And what you're seeing are some of the girls using the design thinking process, the problem solving model, to do their design. So even before they get onto the technology, they're working, they're brainstorming, they're iterating, and you can see those global competencies in action. And once they've done their design work, they actually bring it into Minecraft Education Edition, where they do the design in their AS Club, and they work together to design, in this case, the eatery of the future. And then they actually have to do a pitch. So they have to take that design and work as a team to develop a less than 5-minute pitch that will be presented to judges across North America, from Microsoft, from Dell, from Intel, also we had educators as well as some post-secondary female STEM students. So nice variety of judges who had a chance to give the girls feedback on all of this. And finally, the mentorship part of the pillar. And in this way, we know these girls, grades 4 to 8, they love TikTok. We're not doing TikToks, we're using Flipgrid, but we told video stories. So we had all of these women from our different technology companies and different districts. They had their IT people come in, and we talked about what it was like to be a woman in STEM, because we thought even if we can increase the awareness of the roles, the different opportunities that these girls might see themselves in, just so that they can start to see role models and people who look like them. So we really believe that mentorship piece is important. This was an asynchronous opportunity for them to meet mentors. We also had one-to-club mentors who would visit them during club time, and again, do live Q&As with the girls and talk about what it's like to be in a STEM role. And then we had 30 clubs across North America over the past number of months. It's been an exciting time. And with that, I now want to bring you to the panel so you have an understanding of what it can really look like if you had a club. So we're going to start with question number 1, and I'm going to ask each of the clubs to tell their story. How did you design the experience for your group? And we will start with Artemis.
Thanks, Katina. So we are a year 1 club, which means we're starting right from the ground up. I did not really know what to expect. So we looked at our girls in grade 4 and 5. We also looked at our girls who were in the virtual school because we wanted an opportunity to connect them both together. And we thought about cohorting. It's a bit different this year because we started in a COVID year. So we had to look at Toronto Public Health guidelines. How are we going to support the girls? How are we going to learn along with the girls, what the format was? And at the end, we really let the girls drive what the program would look like. They had to apply. They had to fill in a little application, tell us about why they wanted to be in the club, why it was important to see representation of females in STEM, and then what the format might look like. So it really was collaborative. I had my librarian and the gym teacher, who one was techie, one was not, and I'm somewhere in the middle. And so we all decided that it was our opportunity to work and learn from the girls. So that's how we started our club this year.
Over to the Melissas.
So our club was a little different, being fully virtual from day one. So when the other Melissa approached me about starting this club, honestly, like the transition over to virtual school was enormously overwhelming, and I didn't really know that I wanted to take something else on at the time. But the one thing that I did know about being a teacher, something that I could see potentially missing in virtual school, was those clubs and those kind of off academic ways to connect with your students. So that was the driving thing, and I just thought, let's just go for it. Like, we're a virtual school, this seems like the right club to do. And we took the same type of approach as Artemis. So we had the girls had to demonstrate interest and talk to their parents, and then we selected from a group of grade 6 to 8 students. So Melissa had a 6, 7, and I had a straight 8. So our club was made up from grade 6 to 8, and we were able to include all the girls who wanted to be in the club. So that was a bonus. And yeah, so that's kind of how we set it up, and everything was virtual, all our meetings. And I have to be honest, I was a little jealous when I saw some of those photos of you collaborating in person with each other. I kind of forget what that feels like, but it was nice to be able to offer that to the girls, to feel that connection through a club that way. So it was slow. I feel like everything took a lot longer, but it's very much doable. and it was rewarding. I don't know if you have anything to add to that, Melissa.
Thank you. Just a big thank you for being willing to take the leap of faith. But yeah, basically that's how it was set up, and it was a lot of conversation. The hardest part was getting the devices to them and being able to get everybody connected. But once that happened, it was smooth sailing.
Awesome. All right, over to Waterloo Catholic, Sherry and Roland.
Hi. We're also a year one club at a school in Kitchener. What's really important to note, or what kind of makes our school a little bit unique, 85% of our students are newcomers from one area in Eritrea. Most of our students, I would say, are racialized, and they face a great deal of income and food insecurity themselves. So a lot of aspects of this project really hit home to a lot of our friends. But many of our wonderful, wonderful families really see education as opportunity. So in the past, about 3 years ago, Roland and I started a grade 4 Girls Who Code Club that we, let every grade 4 child female that wanted to come, and we talked about the importance and the value of having that kind of club at our school. So about 1.5 years ago now, our innovation person at the board contacted Roland and I and said, would you guys be interested in doing this? I, of course, jumped at the opportunity to work with Roland, who's been a friend, and I've got to work with him for the last 3 years. He's an absolute lifelong learner and innovator and a professional. And we really enjoy creating and using and teaching the staff tech together. So this was a great opportunity. None of us really understood Minecraft, but we did try to learn. So we had a group of girls in a grade 5-6 class that happened to be across from the library learning commons and happened to be right by my office. And I was able to use some admin-assigned blocks to release Roland from his class so that he and I could take the females into our library and work alone with them during a 40-minute block. And what we asked the students was that we wanted them to also give up one of their lunch hours. So we actually had 2 blocks a week, 2 40-minute blocks with the students, which was awesome. The new teacher probably didn't even know what was going on. It was like her first time in the classroom. And I mean, she jumped right in with us, which was fantastic. But we always felt that we never really had enough time. And when we had to go virtual, that became a big challenge. So one thing that we're going to reflect upon and look at is, because we had all the students from one class, except for one female chose not to come, which was an interesting dynamic. But it was really great, but they were always with one another. So that is just, I mean, it's not a bad thing. It's not really a good thing, but it's just something to contemplate. So we could kind of, when we went virtual, we could say to the classroom teacher, hey, you put an announcement in your Google Classroom for us. So that was really great. And we are looking to continue, but we're looking to continue with a new group of girls. So yeah, so Roland, is there anything that you would like to add?
I would like to add a couple of things, Sherry. Thank you. And it was wonderful working with you on this initiative. Something that Melissa H. said, did she really want to get involved with this? I knew right away that I was going to do this. With all the COVID restrictions and stuff, there's a lot not going on at school. But when the opportunity came up again to be part of GWG, I was like, I'm in. I needed something to make me happy at work, and this was it. And our group was fantastic in terms of because Sherry could provide me with release time during the school day. That did a couple of things. The first thing it did was it made the girls feel like they were really special, because if the vice principal is going to release a teacher in the middle of the day every week for this activity, this initiative, then they knew that they were part of something special. So right away, they felt important. They felt like their voices were heard because they told us what they needed to be successful. So I really liked, being a classroom teacher and then working with the administrator. It was great that Sherry could provide that aspect for us. And then the second part of that is the fact that the vice principal was at all the meetings teaching half the time. So they were like, whoa, Mr. C is getting released. We're leaving class. The vice principal's with us. They really felt special. And we kept telling them, you are special. And you can do this and you can learn these things. And watching them work together was fantastic. And the best parts were when Sherry and I would step away and they would just do their thing, and then we were there for support more so than, the people leading this. They were leading us and we kept reminding them of that. So our group was really cool that way. And I was really fortunate to be able to work with my vice principal who could make things happen to let these girls feel special and know that they were important and that this was important.
It's really nice. All right, McMurk, Zelia, and Kamla.
So we were lucky enough to have 2 grades participate, grade 4 and grade 6. And at the beginning of being in the school building, we actually had the 2 groups come together at lunch to support one another and start the level 1 process of the eatery. The girls came together, and at first you would see the divide. The grade 4s would be on one part of the room, the grade 6s would be on the other part of the room, and there was no sense of club cohesion. And as soon as we started introducing the flip grid and they could see that there were other girls involved, we created the group norms. That was a really big bonding experience. Having Zelia come in virtually, and I think I agree, Roland, that sense of them feeling special, that they were valued, that their voices were being heard, that this was an experience just for them. I can't tell you what it did for my grade 6 girls. I have 26 kids in my class. I only have 9 girls. So there's a small number of them, and they have grown so close with one another, and all the differences that they had, and they came from 5 different classes from grade 5 into grade 6. You wouldn't even know it, how close they are. We went from being in the school building to transitioning remotely. And they transitioned so smoothly. We didn't know what to expect during the winter break and how that transition was going to work for them. But it was them emailing me through the holidays saying, when are we getting started? How are we going to finish this? They were excited. The fact that they knew that they even had these companies behind them, Dell, Microsoft, Intel, they got these shirts, they got the laptops, they felt the support of this amazing company, and that these companies believed in them. And that belief allowed them to use the design thinking process, the inquiry process to build these eateries that, and I said, dream big. This doesn't have to exist now. Like, dream big, dream large, be innovative. And they did. And they did it. And then we were just so thrilled with them. And they were lucky enough to have 3 coaches, myself and Zelia and Sebastian, along with, Karen, who came in and who was awesome. Like, any moment, like, Karen, we need help. And they knew that they had this team of women and Sebastian supporting them, and wanting them to do greatness. So, anything else?
Okay. All right. Fantastic. And over to Annie.
Hi, everyone. So my club was a little different in the fact that this was our 3rd school year being part of this club. So it was spring of 2019 when we became the pilot school for TDSB to be Girls Who Game, and it was an amazing experience. The girls, like myself and the 2 female teachers that signed up, we didn't know what to expect, but we knew that we wanted to empower our girls. My community is an inner city school in Scarborough, I guess Toronto, but the Scarborough area, former Scarborough area. All of my girls are, racialized. And so we wanted to empower them. And so we, again, we did a little application process. We knew we could only take 10, but we squeezed in 12 somehow. And it's really interesting because we went through the process as this program evolved, we evolved with it. So we started off with, the building the global competencies, meeting other girls from, I think there were 5 clubs in all of Canada. Is that right? So there were 5 clubs, but it was so amazing to be meeting girls from, you know, BC and from Quebec. And so that was the first year. And a lot of it was, you know, what are some things we're going to work together, learning how to collaborate. And again, just like Kamala said, we had grade 4, 5, and 6 girls. And in the beginning, they were in their little grade pods, and then slowly they started just getting to know each other and building, and then before you knew it, they were working collaboratively so beautifully together, and you could see those global competency skills, just like you could see them developing right in front of you. And then the next year, so what we did is, instead of taking a new group of girls, because we felt we started kind of late in the spring of 2019, is the girls that hadn't moved on to grade 7, because our school goes up to grade 6, were the core group, and we added more girls to that group. And then we had a challenge. Last year's, it was the School of the Future. So our girls and the mentorship, we had amazing adult mentors, but then our girls, because they were in level 2, were also mentors of first year level girls. So it was amazing. They were junior mentors, but they also had senior mentors that were from the IT department in the TDSB. And what an amazing experience. And as they worked through this project, in the meantime, mentoring girls from other clubs. And it was an amazing dual role that they had. And we were so excited. We won the national award. So we were so excited, and the provincial. So we were so excited. I know we loved it. And the girls were just so proud. But then the shutdown happened, right? So we were a completely physical group. And then we had to do the big pivot after we had started and we had done this, we had started as a physical group. So then what we did was, you know, the big shock of like March break is now like endless, you know, so we kind of regrouped. We met online. We figured out, as teachers were figuring out how to do Google Meets and Zoom Meets and all that, we got together and we were able to restart the group. So that same group then from that September continued. And we were able to finish off the year and be able to continue with our work. And then this September, you know, Katina offered, well, do you want to do level 3? And I was like, all right, well, this is going to be interesting, because out of our core group, some of them had gone virtual and some of them were physical in school. So again, we were like, well, we know we could do both versions. Well, let's now try a combined version. So we do have, and what was really interesting too, is that we had created an online meeting platform. And some of the original girls that had graduated had gone on to middle school, because Toronto does have some middle school, so grade 7 and 8 were no longer students of our school, wanted to stay on with the club. And we're like, yeah, why not? So we have some former Woburn Junior Public School, but they're now, you know, in the middle school. But hey, they're part of our GWG team. They are champions, former champions. They wanted to keep going. And then they became mentors of the new girls that joined in. So it's amazing how this club has evolved, how it's evolved from physical, all virtual, hybrid, mixed, and just having girls. Some of my girls that were in grade 4 the first year are now in grade 6 or in grade 7. And this year we were so excited that it went on to being, we were play testing last spring online, some of the esports events, and this year we got to be part of the esports, so the level 3 group, and it was just so exciting. Again, a lot of team building. Karen was amazing. She led our group through all those skills to learn how to work as a team. Like, she was invaluable. I mean, we were called coaches, but she was our coach and everybody's coach, and be able to work as, okay, well, what does it mean to be a team? A digital team that's going to be doing esports, because no one had ever experienced that before. So we were all on a learning curve, but it was amazing. And we had our tournament last month, and it was incredible. So I think I'm getting into some of the other questions, so I'm going to cut it short there and talk about it more later. But it's been an amazing experience, and both, and it could be in any kind of platform, whether it's physical, virtual, or a mix of both.
Okay, so with that, I think I will actually, let's play a bit of the video from the esports, just so people can see what it was like. pause it there simply because I want to explain what happened. So in the esports tournament, it's in the Minecraft education world, there's make and model, and these are build challenges. And so we had 5 teams. We had 3 different districts across Canada who were playing, and they were 2 teams going head to head. We would give them a STEM prompt, a question that they had to respond to. It was a design question. And then they had 10 minutes as a team in the moment using those global competencies, critical thinking and problem solving in the moment. They had to communicate, they had to collaborate. They had judges in their rooms that were observing what they were doing. And so they had the opportunity to build and then work together. And then at the end, they had 2 minutes to vote. So that's what Annie was talking about. It's really exciting. It was our first tournament that we ran just a couple of weeks ago. So that's what our level 3 teams do. So level 1s, we're doing the project, that Eatery of the Future. And by the time they get to level 3, they're doing that in the moment esports problem solving. So very exciting. All right, so we're going to move on into some of the questions. So Melissa, this year has been really unsettled, but GWG has been very successful across the country. What were some of your successes and challenges with the program?
Successes were that it allowed students that were never physically in the same room together to come together to work. It was amazing because it was the only extracurricular that was offered by the virtual school when we started. So it really was one thing that the kids really missed having extracurriculars. They missed having something that they wanted to do outside of the regular classroom streaming. So that was very successful, as well as, of course, it introduced kids, girls, to the idea of STEM and the fact that they could do science and do coding, because many of them jumped right into the coding. So that was a lot of the successes that occurred. The challenges, the biggest challenge was the fact that it was virtual, that it's not as easy to build community when you're doing it with students who might not necessarily be comfortable turning their cameras on, who might have, families in the background or other things going on. So building a sense of community and building a team was more of a challenge, I have to say. And then the biggest challenge was getting the devices out, because our board is, 200 kilometers from here to here. So physically getting the devices into the hands of the students was probably the biggest hurdle. After that, it was much easier.
What a great reflection. Thank you so much for that. And then, this was your first time as part of the program as the coach, you and Melissa. So in terms of the culminating task, what were your greatest learnings? Like if you were to do it all over again, what would you do differently?
So my greatest learnings as far as the culminating task. So the first massive learning I had was when I read the culminating task, I really thought that as a teacher and a facilitator, I would need to guide the students more. And I totally didn't. They had tons of creative ideas. They overwhelmed me with thoughts that I never would have thought of. Because in the back of my head, I was like, okay, well, I'll need to introduce this to them, and we'll have to go over all of these global sustainability goals, and they're not going to understand that because that's part of this curriculum. And no, they were well ahead of me on that. So that was amazing. As far as how I'll do it differently next time, deadlines. I think because as a teacher, I'm so used to saying, okay, well, as long as I get an assessment from you, it's good. They didn't understand the terms of real world deadlines and the fact that no, it's due. We have to hand it in. Like, if you don't give it to me, I can't put it in. I'm sorry about that, but I have to submit it. So that was probably something where I'm going to need to stress that a little bit more next time, so that they understand that they're not going to accept it late. It's the real world.
Well, authentic learning, right? So I think some great learning for all of us here. Thank you so much for sharing that insight.
No problem.
In our school being fully virtual all year, the biggest challenge was getting the devices out to where they needed to be, because there was always a lot of time in between shipping them to their home school, sitting in quarantine for a couple of days, the kids actually going and picking them up, and then also troubleshooting tech issues if they couldn't join a world, or they couldn't, if something wasn't working properly, that would have been the challenge. So just the logistics of being apart. But for successes, it was a club that we could offer in a virtual school quite easily, and they had developed the skills, or were developing the skills, since September, of that collaboration piece and learning how to use the technology. So that was a little bit of groundwork had been done just because they were in virtual school. And then, of course, the creativity and what the girls were able to do in the end was just amazing. So the success was the girls having that opportunity to collaborate with each other, meet new people, or grow stronger relationships, and then you learning those 21st century skills. So as a coach, my greatest learning was probably I would set the jobs or the parameters of the final project up earlier than we did, and making sure that we did end up doing norms for collaboration once we realized some things were going, like some stronger personalities were starting to take over. So I would do that earlier in the club, and also just making sure all voices were always being heard, that all ideas.
And I'd like to go to Zelia, and if you want to talk about mentorship and what it meant to you for this program.
There I am. My apologies. Both my dogs want my attention now, and my background keeps changing, so I apologize to everyone. What can I say about the mentorship? Like, first of all, shout out to Karen and everyone else, like Bia and everyone who's just been supporting under these bizarre situations, brick and mortar, virtually, doing shout outs, making these connections. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And really what the mentorship brought for our girls and even us as coaches was that experience, was the, I'm tearing up, because it was just really amazing for the girls to see themselves represented by adults who look like them, who were excited about what they were doing. Someone who they could say, Miss, that could be me. Like, I could be that person talking to kids in your class a few years from now. I'm like, great, I'm teaching forever, no problem. Make sure you come back and give back. It's a cycle of learning and building and taking risks. I really appreciated one of our mentors, Faye from TDSB, IT manager, when she said that learning is not a straight path. And the girls were like, okay, like, even if you have a plan, you may get there one way, you're going to get there in an entirely different way. And it energized the girls. And even just inviting not just the mentors, but the Microsoft experts who came into our classroom. So it was Maria and Jordina, and the girls were like, can they also be our mentors? Because they brought a certain energy as well that just had them excited about coding and taking chances, and also opening up and saying, I don't know, but give me time and I will know if you just guide me. And that was a huge shift in our girls thinking that it was okay for them to ask for help, because they were still strong. And they were always so worried about looking weak when they asked questions. And they did not get a sense of that. And that was because our mentors set that tone. So thank you to all the mentors, and thank you for helping set that up.
Awesome. Sherry, did you want to add on to that at all around the mentorship piece?
Yeah, it's interesting, because I think it's really important for the mentorship for the girls, and also I think for the coaches. So Roland and I have been working with a couple of new teachers, and 3 different ones over this term that we just kind of wanted to bring them in and build the capacity within the building. So for me, as a teacher and instructional leader, and as an administrator, I'm absolutely passionate about giving females that opportunity to pursue STEM. So I really, really, really do believe in aligning our resources with our priorities. So innovation was an absolute priority for us. And having females work with the girls work with one another. Like we know the data that we see in the quantitative and qualitative stuff from EQAO or the early years index or the middle years index, that females, they start out really strong with a mathematical mindset. They can do great things. But then we see what happens in grade three, and then grade 6. And as a high school math teacher, I certainly saw it happen in grade 9. So I think I've shared this. My lived experience is my daughter is right now 5th year engineering at Dalhousie. And she happens to be the president of the Engineering Society, who just received her iron ring this week, which we were thrilled about. But, you know, she grew up in a home that she had a math teacher as a mom and a dad that was an engineer who, you know, she wore a t-shirt that said, "I won't do your math homework." So we really, 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 like, we empowered her. And I know that we did that, but not everybody had that opportunity. And as a female, she needs to be surrounded by women. And I know one of her co-ops, she was with an associate at an engineering firm here in Kitchener-Waterloo. And during that experience, she was out and she was on the road. She's actually doing an industrial engineering, working at the shipyard in Halifax, but she's also done some civil stuff. And a man pulled her over. She was outside, you know, measuring. And he said, "Hey, sweetie, why don't you go home and get on your pink boots?" And like, you know, like, this is a woman in engineering, and, you know, she's had teachers, and I can't wait for her to graduate. She's had teachers who've said things like, "When you're an engineer, I'm not getting on your roller coaster, pretty." Like, wow. So, you know, I've seen that. So I think it's imperative that we develop a mathematical and a growth mindset for women and educators, because a lot of our female young teachers don't think they can do math because they grew up in this environment where, for some reason, what I can't even fathom, that women can't do math. So I know that, you know, I have one of the biggest allies in Roland, that, you know, we just want to create opportunity. And I think these mentorships have created opportunity. You know, I'm overly biased as a former math teacher and as a mom of a, well, girl who's got her ring on right now, but, you know, she's finishing up. But there's been some significant challenges that I've seen her have to endure, that it breaks my heart. Like, it just breaks my heart to see women turn away because other people push them down. So I know, you know, what I bring into a building, I hope as an instructional leader, most importantly, and as a support for my staff and the kids that I work with, that, you know, I want to be a mathlete, and I want them to know that loving math is cool. Like, Pi Day is going to be awesome. That's the only good part of no March break this year. Only good part. There, that's it. Sorry, Roland, go ahead.
Well, from a guy's perspective, it was really cool to be part of this experience. And I remember one of the girls saying to me, they all know who I am. They all know I love tech integration and gaming and esports. They know it all. And they said to me, you know, why are you doing this? And I said, well, look at me. I don't get to see people like me in positions like this, number one. Number two, I'm a minority in this school, so I know what it feels like to not have other people around me doing things that I like to do. So when this opportunity was provided and we could have, you know, mentorship and take you girls and give you this opportunity, I was all over it, because just because you're girls, I'm a guy, doesn't mean I can't help out and I can't be part of this experience and provide you with opportunities to help you move forward and do great things.
I think that's a great point, Roland. We can't do it by ourselves. We need allies, and we need everybody to be part of this movement. So thank you for that. Thanks for sharing there. All right, we're going to move on to the next question, and this is for Kamala. Why do you think it's important to have equity initiatives like Girls Who Game?
Well, I think the importance of having equity issues is the focus is on the girls. And I loved what Sherry said. It was that whole mindset. And I said, having an active mindset about what it means to be a woman in STEM. And today, like, we celebrated International Day of the Woman in science, and we had this big celebration. I had all the boys clap the girls out, and we talked about different mentors in STEM, but just giving the girls a chance to see themselves in their mentors, to have the opportunity to lift themselves up, and to know that together they can lift and rise up to a challenge. I think it was really important. It was really important for them to see themselves in their mentors as well. And I know a couple of my girls with the mentors that we have, they're like, oh, we look the same. We're the same. And that's empowering. It was unbelievably to watch even how the grade sixes were so supportive and like so making sure the grade 4 girls felt safe and comfortable to like have their ideas rise up. That these equity initiatives is what's going to change the structures within our system to ensure that they are empowered. It's because the structures that are in place right now inhibit some of the girls feeling like they can do these things. And I have a great video that I'd like Katina to show about what the girls thought about with their Girls Who Game and their experience being a part of this.
Participating in Girls Who Game helped me as a learner because I got to hear lots of people's unique opinions, and I love getting feedback on our eatery and how to make it even greater. I thought Girls Who Game was lots of fun.
Girls Who Game inspired me to give different things a try, even if I'm not sure. My takeaway from Girls Who Game is that small things make a big impact.
Something I learned from GWG was that the club wasn't just smooth and just like playing around with Minecraft. It was more hardworking and researching about communities and what we had to do to provide the needs of them. I enjoy meeting different people like Faye and learning about the design thinking cycle. Participating in GWG has inspired me to know that I am capable of doing anything I put my mind to.
Hi, my name is Molly, and before I joined Girls Who Game, I thought that men could only do STEM and girls couldn't. But then when I joined Girls Who Game, I realized that girls can do STEM, and that really inspired me.
Girls Who Game makes me more confident. I have learned how to work independent and in groups. I was glad to be a part of it. Thank you.
I enjoyed Girls Who Game because I got to make a kitchen for the Kenya group in Minecraft. I also enjoyed Girls Who Games because I got to make new friends and meet new people.
My takeaway from Girls Who Game was that I have been more confident around people, and I've learned how to play Minecraft. GWG has helped me as a learner by listening to everyone's ideas and being able to brainstorm as a team. My takeaway from GWG is that I learned that by doing little things, we can change the world. One thing that I liked about Girls Who Game is that it brought a lot of people together, and I got to build with people that I didn't know that well and make new friends. Thank you.
Yeah, their confidence just rose and they felt empowered. So thank you.
And thank you for that beautiful video. Those kids were just fantastic. All right, we'll move on to the next question. And I believe Annie was going to mention about the impact of the club on your girls, your staff, your school, yourself, and your district.
Thanks, Katina. So as mentioned, our girls through the 3 school years that we've been doing the program have learned a lot. And a lot of the girls, especially the ones that have been in it now for either 2 or 3 years, are quite the leaders. They've definitely developed those leadership skills, communication skills. And one of the impacts was that 2 of the girls that are in our grade 6 in the physical school were part of the program last year as well. And this year, their teachers doing their passion projects, so they get to and they get to be leaders and teach their classmates something that they're experts in. And so these 2 girls, in front of the whole grade 6 class, are like, well, we're experts on how to use Minecraft to show our learning and to do things. And so they not only did they, lead inquiry questions because they had just, they were the winners of the school of the future. So they were like, we're going to have a question, and with their teacher, they developed the questions that were, deep, like, have inclusion and accessibility and all that, and the sustainable goals. But also they had the issue where not every device had access to Minecraft. And so these girls did they became IT specialists too in the classroom. And so now, now that the grade 4 and 5 classes are also embedding it, the girls are being loaned out, and they're like, okay, and they're part of the same cohort. So, but to go and to help, with those beginning skills and the leadership skills that they're demonstrating. And of course, just the fact that we have girls that have graduated and that want to stay as part of the club and to continue with this and to continue with this amazing experience, because they feel a sense of belonging. They feel empowered. They know that their leadership skills are, and one of our girls who's grade 7 even was one of the MCs for the esports tournament, and they spoke at the celebration. Like they, just that empowerment that they have. So that was the big impact. And then now we also have our teachers. So teachers that weren't what some of the coaches are now looking for ways that, some of the tools that we use, whether it be Flipgrid or Minecraft, they're now starting to, and with the support of these girls that are kind of in a few of these junior classes, are now starting to embed it into their teaching. And so kind of just, it's not everybody has to make a PowerPoint or everybody has to make a Flipgrid. They're offering more student voice and choice. And some of these tools are adding into that. So it's made an impact, but most of all, it's made an impact in the girls and sort of their outlook on what their future careers may be, what their skills and skill set and the confidence, the leadership, the communication, all those amazing things, and creativity. Oh my goodness, the things that these girls have come up with. So huge impact. It's such a huge impact.
And Zelia, did you want to add on to that?
Running the risk of almost repeating, like that just really captured so much of what really needs to be said. But again, I think if anything, what the girls have gained from this, sorry, it's just so exciting because they're messaging me on the side. They could see themselves as change makers. That's the biggest thing. They could see themselves as change makers and wanting to do things and wanting to continue contributing. And they could see themselves as this is a feasible, doable thing. We just got to keep providing those positive opportunities and opportunities of these tangible learning experiences. And I know it's hard to make excuses, and that's why I'm so grateful when Roland said, you know what, this was a highlight for this year, and how do we turn a situation and make the most of it? And this situation really provided that.
Can I just jump in for a second, Katina? And I think it was the hook for some students to come to school. And for some of the girls, do you know what I mean? It's not easy. I mean, it's not easy being virtual or being in a school, but being at school all day in a seat by yourself with very little collaboration, in a mask, in cohort circles, and then having this experience, it got the kids to school. It got them excited. And I mean, now they can talk about the UN SDGs and the design thinking process, and we had a mentor and like all of it. So it was a hook, but so much more.
Thank you for that, Kamala. So Roland, what are your next steps? What do you hope to see happen next?
Well, we've got some exciting things happening at St. John's. Unfortunately for us, fortunately for Sherry, she's been appointed to principal of a school closer to home. So she's with us for one more week as vice principal, and then she's going to be running her own school and building her own culture and community. So with Sherry leaving, I'm going to continue with the Girls Who Game. We're going to run another session. And one of the grade 7 teachers is going to be co-leading with me, which is amazing. She did work with Sherry with the coding with the girls last year. And so the two of us have kind of gotten together and we've been talking about our plans and ideas. I feel so much more confident having gone through this once that it's really exciting for me to be able to I can help somebody else build capacity around this. and the teacher is a female, so we've got a strong female lead that the kids know and look up to. And for me, that was important, because with Sherry leaving, we have a male vice principal coming, and I certainly didn't feel comfortable with two males running this club, even though I know, Kat, you gave me big thumbs up and a good pep talk, which is awesome. But I really believe it's important for the girls to have a leader who's a female, who's into this stuff, who's taking risks and trying new things. So we're going to be running like a level 1 club again to build capacity in the school and to get more teachers on board. So with Sherry leaving, it's sad, but I get to flex some leadership in that way and help out some other people and keep this going. So that's what's going on with us.
Just to add to that though, and Roland kind of touched on it, I mean, I'm hoping that we'll be able to do it at my new school, but this new teacher that he speaks of, she and another, when I approached them about coding 3 years ago, they're like, I know nothing about coding. I'm like, no, give it a chance, give it a chance. And then we provided them a whole bunch of opportunities, and now they have so much confidence. And I mean that, and as an instructional leader in the building and as an administrator in the building, like, I am so thrilled that she and another gal, I had a big birthday this year, and on my message, they both said to me, thank you so much for opening up that world for me and having faith in them and giving them the opportunity. And, it's not without the resources from Dell and Microsoft. I think we really need to talk about that, because that's a huge, this just wouldn't have been, literally could not have been possible in our building. So that was a really big thing for us that, hopefully, good things are coming out of this.
That's great. Now, Annie, did you want to add on to that one at all? What's next?
I'm not really sure what's next. We definitely want to meet with our girls. We took a little break after the tournament because we had it was such a build up, and then it was report card time and all that. And so we were meeting again on Tuesday, and that's what we're going to be talking about. And a lot of it, we want the girls to lead, to tell us what do they think should be next. And so it's going to be really up to them and how they envision it. And they've done so much with it that I think that they have a good foundation that they can, we can have a really good discussion about what's next. I know they're going to want another tournament. Karen and Katina, start preparing it because they're going to ask for it.
For sure. We were super excited. That was our first tournament, and we were like, wow, it was incredible. Yeah, Karen saying, I'm in. All right, so we'll have some good times. Okay, so what words of advice? We are bringing on some new groups, and what words of advice would you offer to schools or districts who are interested in joining our GWG initiative? And Melissa, so I'll go to you to lead this one off.
I'm going to jump in on this one. I think it's essential that you not be afraid to just, because you don't have to be an expert. You absolutely don't even have to have any background whatsoever in technology or in Minecraft in order to do this. You just need to be willing to say, I'm here for you. And the kids will lead you. Like Roland said, they will lead the way. You don't need to be afraid to do it. And I think for me, when I made the commitment, I was super excited. I was super pumped, but I truly thought that it was going to be more work than it was. I really did. And it wasn't, it was just so seamless. And having, like, thank God for Brenda and for Anne, because they were like, okay, we're going to do this, 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 and this. And the kids were like, okay. And I was like, oh, I don't even have to be here. This is awesome. Not that I didn't enjoy being there. I said that wrong, but it was far less work than I thought it was going to be. And it was essential. I had, I'm sure we all have had, but I had one particular student who really, really struggled this year and was unable to even make it to school virtually, but showed up for the club because that was a point of joy.
Other Melissa, did you want to add on at all?
I would just add on basically what Melissa said, but kind of the phrase that comes to my mind is the girls are your greatest asset. So when just, you know, in the busyness of the job and the transitions constantly happening this year, it was just really encouraging to see these young grade 6, 7, 8 girls just be able to, like, the skills and talents that they have. So they really are, when you're thinking of can we do it, think like, can the girls do it? And of course they can. So that was my experience for sure. The girls just blew me away.
Kamala, did you want to add on?
Yeah, I mean, be open, be flexible, and just be right. And like, honestly, with the support, Katina, that your team has put together, ask lots of questions. I mean, Katina's so open to like the emails, and Karen, all of it. And if you're working with a partner, I think we're all in pairs in this. And we had a team of 3. We'd be like, we have a GWG, WhatsApp group. Like, hey, I don't know what's going on. Ask good questions and be open. And it's okay to make mistakes. And when the girls see that I'm like, I don't know anything about Minecraft, they're like, that's okay, miss, we got you. Right? Like if I didn't know how to build that elevator and, Karen was in, and then we had connectivity issues where the kids couldn't join each other's worlds. Like they were like, we've got this. They would sit beside each other. They would, look at each other's computers. They figured it out. So yeah, just be open and be open. Like it's such a ride, and it's such a high, like a good high. Like it's amazing. I can't even put into words like how awesome the last 3 months have been.
Everyone, Girls Who Game is a fun club for girls in schools, but really it's about gender equity. It's about giving opportunities for those who don't have them. And what I want to say to the girls out there, to any club and any equity club, is not to apologize for taking up space. If you see a need, you need to speak up. You need to speak to a caring adult, and you need to be brave and say what you need to say in order to get what you want in this world. So be brave and game on.
That's amazing. And it's 7:59. So we've hit our mark. And I just want to thank all of you for doing this tonight, because, you've had a long work day and you were still so willing to jump on and to share your experiences and your stories. And they've been powerful. It's just been beautiful to hear all about this. And what I also love is, look at this great community we've built here. Not just in Ontario, but we now have a great community across Canada, across North America, and it's just going to get bigger. So thank you for just stepping forward and taking a chance to be part of it all, and sticking with it, and really just seeing the joy that can come from this program. And on 3, I want us all to just finish off by saying game on. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Game on. Awesome. And with that, we will call it a night, and I'll pass it back over to Lisa.
Thanks so much, Kat. Thank you, everyone, both people who were here to listen and learn tonight, and to those of you who shared stories. I've been kind of live tweeting as we've been going along. So thank you so much. The powerful stories were astounding. What amazed me was the gratitude of you with each other, of how thankful you were for admin support, of thankful you were for the people you worked with, and the amazing difference you made to the kids, and the amazing difference the kids made to you. So thank you so much for sharing those stories. I have a couple of tiny little housekeeping things to do. Marcia Piquette, if you will put your email address into the chat, you are the fabulous winner of tonight's door prize, which is the Esports Education Playbook. And as I said, if you pop your address into the chat, we will make sure. Oh, give me a snail mail address, Marcia, so we can actually send you the book. That would be great. Or I can email you, and that will work, and I'll get an email address that way. The other piece is to remind you that the next ECOO Winter Support session is next I'm thinking the Tuesday. Yes, Tuesday the 16th at 7 o'clock. And Mon Avenir Virtual School will be sharing best practices and lessons learned through virtual school. So huge thank you again. I don't know if we've got a couple like very brief minutes for anyone who's got questions. I know there was lots of stuff happening in the chat. If people do have questions that they want to throw out there quickly, Katina has posted girlswhogame.com as a place where you can get information.